On July 26, India celebrated 20 years of victory in the Kargil War. It is called Operation Vijay by the Indian Army. It is one of the successful and infamous high-altitude warfare to take place. The story of how it all began. Back in the year 1999, there was only 3 brigade of army guarding the entire 300 km of LOC and Indian territory. That means 1 for every 100 km of territory. Due to the harsh climate of the mountain region, the place was inhabitable during the winter. And so, the Indian and Pakistani posts were vacated before the winter season back then. It was a mutual agreement between both the countries because the conditions were much worse at posts 14,000 to 18,000 high. Ammunition, bunkers, road, resources and high-tech surveillance were missing and were inadequate. The Pakistani forces took advantage of the shortcomings and the fact that the army is not present in these regions in the winters. They occupied the empty spaces between Zojila and Leh. Not only did they cross the LOC, they also entered further into the areas. Slowly, the locals began noticing the Pakistani army and reported them to the Indian army officers. The first intrusion was reported on May 3, 1999. The army initially thought them to be Kashmiri militants trying to create unrest in the area, but soon cigarettes and magazine traces were left which confirmed the presence of officers. During the same time, Captain Saurabh Kalia and 5 soldiers from his patrolling team were caught alive, were kept in captivity and brutally killed by the Pakistani army. It was after this incident that India has realized that the Pakistani army has established posts deep in the hill areas with sophisticated equipment. The preliminary struggles. On 9th May, heavy shelling was carried out by the Pakistani army that damaged the ammunition dump in Kargil. May 17, 1999, Brigadier Kushal Thakur, along with his unit, was asked to move to Dras as part of Operation Vijay to evict the intruders. There was a lot of chaos and confusion in the area, and soon they were asked to move to the Tololing first as it was closer to the national highway. They went into the field expecting encounter from 3 or 4 militants. Soon, they realized the people on top were not just some random militants or locals trying to create unrest. They were trained soldiers with weapons. They had to face a high-intensity firing from the enemy's end. On May 26, the Indian Air Force was brought in to attack the Pakistani camps and bunkers, but an enemy missile brought down a helicopter that led to the temporary halt of the operations. The team lost 25 soldiers as the enemy was able to track their every movement from atop. They could not carry the wounded to the hospitals as there were none close by. The team lost an officer, Major Rajesh Adhikari, and Brigadier Second in Command, Lieutenant Colonel R. Vishwanathan. Half the battalion was used to bring food and ammunition to those above. The operation lasted 25 days as any movement was made only in the night. This was the reason for high casualties. After Tololing was captured, soon the 13th Jammu and Kashmir Rifles were asked to capture point 5140. The first night was difficult as they had lost. This was because they could not identify the enemy bunkers. Tiger Hill Conquest. The 18 Grenadiers were soon instructed to capture Tiger Hill. By this time around, the army went with better planning and with better equipment. Thakur requested the company of 8 Sikh and close to 50 soldiers position themselves on the western ridge of Tiger Hill. Both sides faced severe casualties, but our army understood the need for more weapons such as sniper rifles. We had a lot of casualties as our army had to face grenades and enemy snipers. Our use of rocket launcher rounds and highly explosive grenades should have been more. But nevertheless, our army was able to conquer and soon the Pakistani troops had to back off. The army also faced major problems such as lack of drinking water in the war. Despite challenging weather conditions, geography, and surprise attacks by the enemy, the Indian Army stood victorious. Today, the Army is so much more equipped. The infiltrated routes have been closed or counter-infiltration grids have been made, and the deployment strength has tripled. We also have sophisticated technology such as night radars, satellite imagery, unmanned aerial vehicles. Several helipads have been built for supplies and quick mobility, better roads, habitat and surveillance systems. The chances of Kargil-like war to repeat is very unlikely now. The Indian Army utilized the loopholes with the Kargil Review Committee. After the war, the world's highest army deployment is now in Siachen. The Indian Army is fully ready to take on any challenge in this area.